Hey guys, what is going on? It is Cruzabe here and I welcome each and every one of you to a brand new tutorial video for our channel, The Guide. And this time we have a topic that we haven't featured a ton so far on this channel. I'm talking about finishing, and more in particular about finishing basics. So what determines the outcome of your shot, how to set up your finishes correctly, how to choose which shooting option to go for in what kind of scenario, and how to power up your shot. All that good stuff we're going to talk about today. But before we get into that, I want to say that if you're looking to improve at FIFA and really take your game to the next level, then we have the exact right offer for you. I'm talking about our bundles. These include 3 hours of private coaching with a coach who looks at your game specifically and gives you individual tips on how to improve, as well as our online course that features 3.5 hours of video material on how to improve at FIFA, how to implement skill moves into your game, how to set up a training schedule, and also analyze your own game in order to improve. So if you're interested in that, then definitely check out the link in the description. Our bundles are also on a pretty big discount right now, so definitely click that link down below. And now please enjoy the video. The first thing that determines the outcome of your finishes is the preparation of your shots, and this is really important, guys. You have to prepare your finishes well in order for them to hit the target and result in goals. So when it comes to preparing a shot, first you need to change the direction in which you're dribbling with the ball, the direction that your player is looking at, and you should try to align that direction with your shot choice and also with the target. So for driven shots, mainly you want to look in the exact direction that you're trying to shoot the balls. So when you're going for the short post, you should aim either directly at it or slightly next to it. And if you're going for the far post with a driven shot, then you should align your shot exactly with the far post, or you should slightly aim more towards the center of the goal. If you have a more centered position inside the box, that also works. For curved shots, on the other hand, it's important to get an angle. So if you're going for the short post, once again, you want to aim slightly next to the short post on the outside of it. And then for the far post, it's the same concept. Aim away from it, slightly to the outside. You can even be in an extreme angle, like parallel to the goal, because the curve of the shot will bend the ball towards the goal and it will still hit the target. And the other part that goes hand in hand with aligning your shot with the target is having a clean ball contact before you make the input for the shot. I see way too many players who get the ball inside the box and then basically while taking the first touch they already power up the shot, and it results in their player making a very weird action, trying to already start the shooting animation while receiving the ball, and then the finish is not very clean. So you want to prepare your shot by having a good ball control, and that means taking an extra touch, if possible letting go of sprint, because your player will be more precise if he's not sprinting at the same time. That depends if you have pressure from a defender or enough space to do so. And then, as I said, with that last clean touch of your player, you also align the shot with the target, and that should allow you to have a very high success rate with the shooting variation that you chose. Now when it comes to shot selection, the first thing I want to talk about is to decide whether you want to go for the short post or far post. Obviously, in order to prepare your shot accordingly, you have to decide for the corner you want to shoot at in the first place, but all these things happen kind of simultaneously and very quickly in your head, so that's why I decided to still include the short post versus far post debate in this section here. Now in FIFA 20, the short post area is definitely the overpowered one. The goalkeepers are not really defending it well, so that's where you should aim for most of the times when you're inside the box, and you can also play towards that short post area by doing your skill moves in that direction, or when receiving a pass, quickly turning that way, so that you then with one simple touch can prepare a driven shot into the short post. That's definitely the best shooting variation there is in FIFA 20. But of course there are situations when you need to aim at the far post. The first one would be when your angle at the short post is so small that it's not really a possibility anymore to score that way. So then you kind of need to go across goal for the far post finish, or when you're cutting inside and you're not really having a good angle on the short post, maybe it's covered, then you can also go for the far post, maybe even with a curved shot in that case. Now, in order to decide if you're gonna go for the driven shot or the curved shot, I've split the shooting scenarios into two different groups. The first one are 1 versus 1 situations with the goalkeeper, so when there's no defender around anymore, that has a crucial impact on the situation. And in these scenarios, what's the deciding factor is if the opponent with his goalkeeper is staying on the goal line or rushing out of the goal. If he's staying on the goal line or only coming out by a slight margin, then you want to go for a driven shot, because you have good angles on goal still. For the goalkeeper, it will be very hard to save a driven shot into the corner when he's staying on the line, and you need the power in order to cover the distance between your player and the goalkeeper and the goal as quickly as possible. So here you should always go for a driven shot into one of the corners. Important factor here, as for all shots, is also to watch the opponent's goalkeeper's movement. So if you have the feeling that he's going to move the goalkeeper, you might want to wait 1 or 2 extra touches in order to see which direction he's going for, and then you can easily do a driven shot into the other corner. Now, on the other hand, if the opponent is letting his goalkeeper rush out in order to cut the angles that you have on goal with your striker, then you should go for a curved shot in almost all cases. Because when the goalkeeper is coming out, driven shots have a very bad angle to get past the goalkeeper, and by using a curved shot, you can increase the distance between the ball and the goalkeeper, and then afterwards the ball is bending in because of the curve, so that will lead to a much higher success rate in scenarios where the goalkeeper is rushing out of goal. Quick reminder here that if you have a feeling, or if you can actually see that the goalkeeper is coming out, it's really important when preparing your shot that you're getting an angle, so that you're aiming away from the post to the outside, so that your player has an easier time to get that curve going and shoot the ball around the goalkeeper, because if you're looking straight at him, then that will be really hard and the angle won't be as good, so you will have a higher chance of your ball getting saved. Now, the other scenario type of finishes is when you're around or inside the box, but the box is still crowded, there are a lot of defenders, because in these situations the goalkeeper tends to stay in goal, and that's why the driven shot, at least in FIFA 20, is the choice here most of the time, because you want to cover that distance between your striker and the goal as quickly as possible. You need that power, otherwise the ball is often gonna get saved. And as I already mentioned before, the short post finishes are overpowered anyways, so here in these scenarios you can often just go for the short post driven shot. But if the angle is not good, or if the short post is covered by other players, then also a far post driven shot works out here. But the rule of thumb is go for those driven shots. Curved shots, on the other hand, I pretty much only use when I have an extreme angle. That could be after using a skill move like a drag back or a Berber spin, stuff like that. Then it can happen that you're pretty much parallel to the goal, or you're aiming towards the corner flag, stuff like that. Then the driven shot into the far post area is not really a good choice, because for that, once again, the angle is pretty bad and often it will tend to go too much towards the center of the goal. So here the curved shot is a good choice, because then you can really utilize that angle in order to get a lot of bend into the ball and beautifully net it into the far post top corner. And last but not least, an often overlooked but nonetheless very important step with finishing is powering up. Now, of course, you don't want to overpower your shots because then they will just miss the target. But what a lot of people do wrong is that they're undershooting. They're not putting enough power in their shots, and that will lead to the ball being slower and easier to save for the goalkeeper, especially for curved shots because these are missing the power in the first place, and also the shot will be half high, and that's a height that's very easy to save for the goalkeeper because once again the distance the goalkeeper needs to cover to reach the ball is the smallest compared to a shot being very high or very low. So when I'm already very close to goal, that would mean powering up between 1.5 and 2 bars of power, and then when I'm getting a bit further away but still remain inside the box, then I will go for 2.5 or even 3 bars of power. Especially for curved shots, be confident and load up a bit more power and you will see better results because the ball will be higher and really go in the top corner and therefore will be much harder to save for the goalkeeper. As a little extra in this video, I have a pro tip for you guys, and in the first moment this tip might not seem so pro to you, but trust me, it is a really helpful one. So when it comes to finishing, you should trust your feeling and be confident, because it's 10 times better to decide for one shooting option and then be confident about it and prepare it the best you can by following all the steps that I just mentioned and explained in this video, instead of being unsure, reconsidering and overthinking the finish that you're trying to go for, because that will lead to your shot not being prepared well, to you changing your mind last second and then going for some half-ass option that's not really having any chance of success really. So if you're confident about your finishing and if you set your mind to one option and then go for that, this will also increase your success rate with finishing tremendously. Trust me, I've known it from experience. This is especially true in crucial matches. Finishing has always been one of my strengths, also when I was really active in the esports scene of FIFA, and I can tell you a lot of that came from always being decisive and always being confident about my abilities in this aspect of the game. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it and that it helps out your finishing skills. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions about this topic, if anything remains unclear, some special scenarios where you're still unsure, then I can try my best and answer those. Please leave a like if you enjoy our content because that helps us out a ton, and also consider subscribing if you don't want to miss any further video of the guide. I'll better talk to you in the next one. See you then, much love, peace. We also want to say big thanks to our elite tier supporters over on Patreon. You can become a patron today and support the channel as well as receive some cool benefits in return over at patreon.com/BPG the guide.